Ian Higgins in number 29, Rob Cowley in 73, 236, 345, Gary Coyle 212, 371, and the rest of the starmen all at the back there, including Des Chandler in 213, and of course Peter Paulding in number 1. Now there's a problem right down here before they've even got going again, involving number 29 Ian Higgins and 97 Barry Harrison. All of them in a big pile up there, right on the apex of the turn there. Stephen Kaiser in car number 380 actually leading the pack at the moment from number 277. Martin Southwood in that second place. Hayward third in 424. Black Southwood gone, slid right across the track, and that's already given very useful lead to young Mr. Kaiser down there in 380. Derek Fairhurst is going to get away from that little lot, but whether the car is in a fit state to run throughout the rest of the racing remains to be seen. Better. So we've now got that little lot sorted out. 380 there, still in the lead this time round. 424 in that second place, some 369 mil Burgoyne third. Burgoyne goes right out there, almost clips that parked up car on the Bradford turn. Bill Smith doing quite nicely in car number 109, and so is Rob Cowley in car number 73. Michael Ives in 236 being chased down the back straight by Des Chandler in 213. Then a gap until you come to Peter Paulding in car number 1. A lot of them still sliding out and wide and losing ground on the turns. 73 Rob Cowley though, still dogging everybody around there, keeping an eye on things generally. And it looks as if someone's going to be on the receiving end of the old black flag in a moment or two. Just keeping on. 29 in fact, please. Car number 29 is the man who gets the black flag. Are you getting us now, Ian? Thank you. So, let's get back to see what's happening down there. It is still number 380, that's the man. Holding it on there nicely, powering his way through. Useful lead. 424 still second with 109 Phil Smith challenging Hayward now in that 424 car, uses the bumper, pushes Hayward wide, slips underneath him and moves up into second place. So it's still Kaiser, what a stroke if he pulled this one off on his first appearance here at Bradford. 380, Stephen Kaiser at the halfway. Mr. Starter leads the field from Phil Smith in car number 109 in that second place. Might well be that we've got another change too a little bit further down, and certainly we're going to have in a moment because Des Chandler has just come through nicely and sideswiped 383 Dave Johnson in the process, and in fact Chandler has moved up into third place now in car number 213. So reading it through again, Steve Kaiser in car number 380. He's in the lead coming out of turn the 4 very nicely. Quite a big gap on the man who's lying in second place, Phil Smith in car number 109, followed by Des Chandler in 213, and it's 5 next time Mr. Starter. So with 5 laps to go, Chandler in 213 chasing Phil Smith in 109, but both of them have got a lot of ground to make up on this young man from Saffron Waldron in car number 380, who's going around here very nicely indeed, starting from the front of the pack, and as yet he's not been dislodged. Goes round turns 1 and 2 quite nicely. Smith certainly at this stage not making much impression on that huge gap between first and second places. Chandler trying to close up on Smith in car number 213. Michael Ives bounces down the back straight in 236. Rob Cowley too could well be in the places in car number 73. He's being pressured just a little bit by the man immediately behind him, who winds it up, and that would be the one John Lund in car number 53. Right behind John, of course, is the man with the gold roof, Formula 1 short track world champion, Peter Paulding. Still 380 and 109 from 213 Des Chandler, and that gap might have narrowed just a little bit, but there's still a lot to do if anyone is going to displace the man heading the pack. Steve Kaiser in car number 380 gets himself into just a spot of bother there, but he's still got a couple of back markers between him and the man in that second place. Chandler beginning to pressure, and he punts the old 109 car away. Nice bit of stock car racing there from Des Chandler in 213 there on the last lap. And Bill Smith is going to have a go. They both go wide there, and is Smith going to get that lead back from Chandler? Well, he's done that, but whilst those two were engaged in their own personal little battle, It looks as if the 380 car is going to come across the line, and on his first ever appearance here to Bradford, take the flag, which he does. From Smith in second place, Phil in 109, and Chandler Des in third place in 213. Well, well, well. Okay, Mr. Starter, red. Green flag goes down again the first time, no problems. Tracks obviously having been warned again to get the dust down. It's car number 11, 456, 421. 1, 2, 3, 4 across there. One or two more sliding down there. Jamie Davison car, of course. Oh yes, and we've got number 77, Ian Platt, struggling right away with a flat rear tyre, which suggests that he's going to retire, which he does. The rest of them beginning to bunch up in a couple of groups. The leaders coming through. And there is the lead car. 456, Rob Butterfield from George Braithwaite in car number 92. And we got one straight over down there. Just wave yellows, Mr. Starter, please. Just wave yellows, Mr. Starter, please. Cars then on the rerun as the flag goes down, and it's Butterfield who's going to go shooting into the lead in car number 456 with car number 11, Sean Taylor, in that second place. But not very much longer by the look of it, because things could change almost straight away with what looked like Mark Webster, perhaps. Is it just edging into that second place? We'll check that as they come around again. And yes, indeed, he was 391, 382, 464, 52 and 77. 64, Kev Smith, 172. Chambers in 250, all chasing each other down that back straight into the home stretch of the Steel Butterfield in 454. From Webster in 226. Smith there in 391. And then number 11, Sean Taylor, hanging on a little while longer, but it looks as if Richard Bright might well be taking that place off him in a moment in 329. And it's a good job that Richard moved that tail end out of the way, because it was being lined up by the man immediately behind him, which happens to be Jamie Davidson in 464. And he's going to get it this time. No, he's not. He missed again, did Jamie Davidson. Both of them go wide, as a result of which, chopping in nicely beneath those two cars goes Richard Mason in 202 and moves up quite considerably. However, the bumpers are still going in on that turn. There's somebody smoking there, which could look a little bit dodgy. An indication may be that there are troubles ahead, and it's Junior Wayman, in fact, in 515, who's leaving a smoke trail all the way around the arena. Through again, 456, being nudged out of the way, nicely timed charge by Andy Smith in 391 on Butterfield in car number 456. Out of that turn they come, and Smith goes into the number 1 slot. So it's Smith in 391 from Butterfield in 456, Webster in 226, Mason in 202, Brighton in 329. That is wrong because it looks as if Junior's just gone through in 515. It's not going to go very much further, I don't think. That's just about shot, one would think. Jamie Davidson in 464 hooking in behind that car, so he might well be in trouble as well. Where are they? Halfway in, please. Smith the leader in 391. Substantial lead too at this stage in the proceedings, because the man in second place is Richard Mason in car number 202, about what, a straight's length behind the lead car. 456, Rob Butterfield still there, as is Mark Webster in 226. Then comes Steve Hodgson in 172, Ian Platts in 77, and it's 5 next time. Quite a lot of cars sidelined, given during the rerun. 172 swinging that tail end out. He's not under any real pressure, mind you. Platts is not yet in striking distance, although he may well be in a moment or two. Gets a little bit nearer the Hodgson car, which hooked up with one of the slower cars in front there for a moment. Breaks free, shoots away. And in fact, it was Webster who was in the middle of that little melee down there, but that's sorted now. No problems. And Keith Chambers is up there too, in the places in 250. Smith in 391. .329 struggling just a bit there, obviously got a problem, as noticed earlier. Time running out. Craig Howarth in 52 trying to bustle away through, which he does. The starter indicating to the cars that the positions that they're in. Smith in car number 391, about to receive the last lap board as he goes around the pit bend turn, comes into the home straight, moves into the Bradford bend. Still that big gap between first and second places. Mason holding on to that second place, and an equidistant as well between second and third, because it's 172 in third place, with Ian Platts fourth in car number 77 and Keith Chambers fifth in 250. There's the checkered. Smith just eases off, crosses the line first from Mason in second place in car number 202. Then comes 172, Steve Hodgson 77 and 250, followed by Craig Howarth in 52. Okay, thank you, Ian. Reds.
Heat number 3 won at Bradford Stadium, 391, Andy Smith. Well done, Andy.
Thank you very much, Franz. Cheers.
Ironically, we were talking before this race here behind us, and you were saying what a rubbish season you had so far.
Absolutely terrible, I can't believe it. We finished last year so well, and this year's just been one disaster to another. We've had so much damage. We've got a different power unit in, which isn't quite as powerful as last year's, but that really hasn't been the difference. It's just, I just haven't been getting the brakes at all. I've had punctures, half shafts, mechanical failures galore. I mean, this weekend we've had more damage this weekend over Stoke on Saturday and Bolton yesterday than we've had for a long time, but we kept going. Me and my mechanic Cecil, you know, credit to him, he's put a lot of hours in this weekend. We more or less rebuilt the car all day today for tonight, and we've won the Eaton, that'll do me. I'm happy with that. At least it's a race win.
Yeah, you've been downgraded to blue now for this month. Hopefully up to red soon.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said to me, oh, you're down to blue, you know, you should be away. But I didn't want to go down to blue, you know. I mean, the object of the sport is to get as high up the grades as you can. I mean, I've never played grades, and I never will do. I was very disappointed when I went down to blue, but I've done all the meetings. It's just sheer bad luck and a bad average why I'm downgraded, you know.
But winning from blue, that's fairly difficult because you're in front of the reds, but behind the yellows. So in traffic.
Yeah, in a very busy heat where there's a lot of cars, i.e. like tonight, I mean the format that they're running, there's a lot of cars on the track at once. It is sometimes a little bit more difficult. Depends on what brakes you get. You can be piled up over the beams in one race and you can get away in another, but you know, I mean, you just race them wherever they put you, and they put me at blue, so there's nothing I can do with that about that, is there really?
And plans for the season 1994?
Well, my plans for the season aren't exactly what they started out at, really. No, I just want to finish some races and get my red roof back. I mean, I didn't have big plans anyway. It's only my first full year of racing, so Formula One's tough at the top. So you know, take the rough with the smooth, and if I can have as good a season and finish as high up as I did last year, I'll be very pleased.
And the new car you said before.
Yeah, the new car. It's quite a long way off, to be honest. We've had that much damage with this car. It's very difficult to get any work done on it, and we've had a new transporter to build as well. But with a bit of luck, if I can keep this car in one piece now and get a few evenings on the new car, it'll be ready in a couple of months.
Anyway, well done in Heat 3 and good luck for the final. You need the points for the World Championship.
Yeah, it's qualifier, isn't it? Yeah, I'll bear that in mind. Thanks, Franz. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Race 4 then, with one newcomer out there. That's Mat Gulikers in car number 90, who hadn't previously been seen. So the green flag goes down, and it's Steve Kaiser in number 380, who's already made a name for himself, shooting to the front, with Hayward in second place in 424. 277 Martin Southwell in that third position. Long way to go, of course. Graham Bird in car number 99. He moves forward as a result of someone sliding out wide on the pit bend turn. No changes at the moment. Somebody moving rapidly down there. That could well be... Oh, just, yes, there's a wheel bouncing down the track there. Don't know whether it's just keeping an eye on the clerk of the course. Wave yellows, Mr. Starter, please. Wave yellows. Okay, ready, Mr. Starter, and complete restart, please. Ready and a complete restart. There's a wheel on the track, ladies and gentlemen, and these days one has to be very, very careful about such a situation, hence the red flags. So, the reds go out, and it'll be a complete restart. A complete restart then, remember, ladies and gentlemen, and so the green flag goes down. We're running over the full distance with Steve Kaiser in number 380, again leading them down the first time, with Mike Hayward in second place in 424, Crowder in third place in number 2, no, sorry, Southwell in third place in 277. Graham Bird in number 99 gets caught there, clobbers that fence hard, right opposite race control. Really knocks a chunk out of the old Armco barrier, or the steel barrier over there. Probably hasn't done much good to his car either. Still Kaiser the leader as the rest of them all around here quite quickly. 277 lost a lot of ground, of course, as a result of that little altercation earlier on. Shane Dorrell in 371 gets through, he gets slid and caught all out over there. Bouncing over the, oh, that's not going to do that much good either, that sorted him out. Graham Bird's a casualty there in number 99 as well. 345, Gary Coyle, the Northwich-based driver, struggling just a little bit. Looks as if Frankie Wayman Sr. has made a little bit of headway there in 212, and the leader is still 380. Michael Ives in 236 is being chased by Dave Beresford, but not any longer he isn't, because Ives goes far too wide on the Bradford bend, and that was just the opportunity that Beresford needed, which he needed to go straight underneath him and move up a place and go chasing after the car that's now immediately in front of him. Bit of a gap. Rob Cowley's up there in 73 chasing Phil Smith at the moment in number 109. Still 380. 380 and 424. 383 Dave Johnson in third place. Phil Smith then I would think in car number 109. Rob Cowley in 73. So, yes, that lad has certainly built it up, and he's handling that motor well. So that's the lead car. Moves 341 right out of the way. Didn't stand on any ceremony there. 380 then. Out of the fourth bend again, past the start-finish line. Still quite a way to go, but that gap is still quite a big one. That's the halfway, Mr. Starter. Dave Johnson moved up into second place in 383, 4-2 third, Mike Haywood, 4-2-4, Mike Haywood third. Who was that down there doing a little, oh, it was Mal Brown, in fact, in number 34, who got spun round and tested the timber blocking on the inside of the home straight. Not too much damage to the car by the look of it, and it's still hanging around there on the far side. 109, Phil Smith moved up into third place now. So it's still Kaiser in 380. It's 5 next time, Mr. Starter. Johnson looks as if he got a bit of trouble then in 383, went way out. And it looks as if Kaiser's gone. What a shame. He has indeed. So it's Dave Johnson who goes into the lead now in car number 383. Well, all credit to young Mr. Kaiser down there, Steve Kaiser in 380. Been knocking at the door of success. Got it tonight as far as the trophy was concerned. And looks all set for another one until that unfortunate business just then. So we're in the closing stages then, just a couple of laps or 3 laps to go at this moment. Two, Frankie Wayman getting a shove in the rear end, and quite a hard one. Pushes him aside, and Harris once again makes a bit of ground up as a result of that little bit of tactical driving there. Oh, Dave Johnson then, looking set now as he goes through to take the checker flag. Although Phil Smith is trying very, very hard. They're on the last lap, but that gap and distance between first and second is probably too great. Because Johnson, quite an experienced driver, certainly not likely to make an error, which he doesn't. Comes into the home stretch, goes across the start-finish line, takes the black and white, with Phil Smith just behind him in 109. And possibly John Lund in third place, car number 53. Peter Balding in car number 1. Rob Cowley in 73. Thank you, Mr. Starter. Reds again, please.
This man likes Bradford. Last time heat winner, and heat winner again tonight. 383 Dave Johnson. Well done, Dave.
Yeah, I won last time and I were unlucky in final, and I've won this time, so hopefully I might win a final. So we'll just keep his fingers crossed for the next race.
Well, you won one last Saturday at Stoke, didn't you?
Yeah, Saturday I won final at Stoke, which I didn't think car would go well around Stoke, but it must have, also must have been lucky. So that's how it goes, into it? You need a bit of luck sometimes. Go on.
You've got good results so far this year. What do you put it down to?
I've got a good car and I dropped on a good engine, and I'm not a bad trail driver. I don't do a lot of meetings, I just do what I want out of enjoyment. I mean, my business says otherwise, you know what I mean? It comes first, your business. So I just do it when I can.
Last year, against all odds, you qualified for the World Final. This year, maybe a bit easier with both Sammys on shale. Are you looking forward to them?
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Hopefully I'll draw Long Eaton, but if not, I'll draw Cheston, so it doesn't really matter, does it? And hopefully I'll be here on World Final night.
Do you prefer Long Eaton or...?
Not really. I mean, I prefer Long Eaton because it's my local track. I mean, if I lived in Bradford, I suppose I'd prefer Bradford. I mean, Bradford and Long Eaton are my 2 tracks I think most of, so that's where I go every time. Kings Lynn don't look a bad track, but it's just sometimes awkward on a Sunday night. So that's it.
But Bradford World Final, that suit you fine?
Yeah, I'll be happy to be in it, whether I'm at front or at back. As long as I'm in it, I'll be happy. I mean, I've been in, I think, 2 World Finals and I've done nothing, so to be in it, that'll make me happy. Okay.
Good luck for the final.
Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Mr. Starter drops the green first time, and the final gets underway with 24 cars on track. Across the line then, and leading them into the first bend is 456 Rob Butterfield. Number 11, Sean Taylor in that second place, Mark Webster third in car number 226, and they're all bunching up into that turn. A whole clutch of star men, remember, there at the back of the pack. The first one to seemingly make a break for it. Looks like Jamie Davidson and Rob Cowley's in cars. Oh, my goodness me. That's Peter Faulding caught up over there in car number 1, so he's certainly got it all to do because he's not going to get restarted before the lead cars go through. And that's proved to be the case. Oh, and in they go again. That's still flying in there. Richard Mason looks like the other car involved. And again, it's all happening there as somebody tries to get into the cab with Richard Mason. Doesn't look as if there are any driver problems down there, but certainly there were plenty of car problems. And Frankie Wayman goes down here in car number 212, straight into the fence and goes broadside across the track, fortunately out of the racing line, so that shouldn't give too many problems. 456 the leader, Mr. Starter, from 226, and that's just changed because in fact 226 has gone through to take the lead. 391, Andy Smith has just moved the second place man out of the way and taken that second place himself, and he's already challenging for the number 1 slot as they go down the home straight. It's Mark Webster in car number 226 and 391 Andy Smith. Remember that Peter Faulding is well down, of course, in car number 1. So he's not in a position to challenge anything just yet. The lead has changed again, and it's 391 Andy Smith who's taken over, coming out of the pit then turning into the home stretch now. Andy Smith in number 391 leads. Mark Webster in second place in 226. Butterfield could still be there in that third place in car number 456. Then Dave Johnson in 383. Jamie Davidson in 464. They're all there coming out of that turn, but the car's well spread around this raceway at the moment. Richard Brighton in car number 329 in the placings, but he's just been donked a little bit there by Cowley in car number 73, who buzzes underneath him, and so does Ian Platts in number 77. There's somebody else having a go down there, but quite gusto really having a crack as far as the bumpers were concerned. And who was it? What a silly question. Junior Wayman, of course, in car number 515, having a go there at the rear bumpers of those cars immediately in front of him, and creating quite a little bit of a problem last time round. He's going to do it again too if he gets half a chance. The Brighton car is in trouble over on that far side. Richard Brighton in 329. Is he going to pull off? Yes, it looks as if he is. So we've got some casualties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars already littered around the raceway, not yet at the halfway stage in this 20-lap grand final. And yes, Smith in 391 still there. Oh, and there's somebody else firing a little bit of too much power on that bench, dripping right out. 391 then, that's the man from halfway, Mr. Starter. Mark Webster holding a good line. Still in second place, I think, in car number 226. Oh, and a whole heap of trouble down there. 1, 2, 3 of them. And it looks as if Wayman Jr. could be one of them, and indeed you're right. Oh, and Smith just clipped the bumper too. That put him offline, but it's enabled Mark Webster to get just a wee bit closer. They're all hustling into that turn and suddenly finding that there are cars across the racing line, and that has created absolute mayhem on that last couple of laps round. Flash fire beneath that one car as it looks for an opportunity to fire up and restart. Well, it's certainly restarted, but isn't yet moving in the right direction. Meanwhile, the rest of them are still battling it out round there. Jamie Davidson in 464 might well be about to get a little bit of help into turns 3 and 4 from Steve Hodgson in 172. Junior Wayman in 515. Thought he might have had a terminal problem earlier on, but wrong, of course. And away goes Hodgson with 5 next time. Mr. Starter, please. So, Andy Smith, 391. He's the man. Mark Webster still second at 266. Dave Beresford third in number 260. And around they come again. Now certainly at this stage in the proceedings, Andy Smith, a young man he might be, but one with a great deal of ability and a lot of experience on the ovals, and he knows that he's in a very comfortable position at the moment. Probably won't ease off just yet, but he's looking all set to take the Grand Final trophy, which he'll be quite delighted about. 391 Andy Smith from 226 Mark Webster. Beresford third in 260. And that might change before the checker flag goes down. Just keeping an eye on the man who's also making a challenge now, which looks like Des Chandler in 213. And it could be that Beresford might get a helping hand in a moment, and indeed he does. That bumper goes in, they're on the last lap, and Chandler has moved Beresford aside and probably moved up a place as a result of that. Will Beresford be able to return the compliment before the checker goes down? It could well happen. Meanwhile, Andy Smith is the man who's going to take the flag. Just look at that for a convincing win. Over the line he goes, takes the black and white. We're waiting for the second man through. There it is. Third, fourth and fifth through, just waiting now for the back markers and the stragglers. And we can take it from there, Mr. Starter, thank you. The red flag, please. Flag goes down, and away they go. Steve Northwich in the D54 car on the day licence there, coming out for another crack amongst the big leaguers. All safely down the home straight. Quite a number of cars out there. This could be quite an interesting race. Derek Fairhurst is the first casualty there, in car number 218 by the look of it, having spun all the way around and have been left virtually at the post there. Leader 341. Cars charging down the home straight, and already the red top drivers making quick progress towards the front of the pack, chopping and carving their way through. Beresford in fact getting there, and Beresford getting a smack in the rear end there from the number 64 car of Kev Smith. In he went, no messing about, wallop. But Beresford, of course, an old hand, and he's not that easily moved, but he's going to be that time. Away he goes, straight away. Shane Dorrell in 371 towards the end of the pack, and then somebody else going, and down here 341's gone completely, moving the timber balkings several feet away from their original position, which just shows the force of the impact. John Lundy, car number 53, is the one that's chasing Kev Smith. Oh, and he wound it up there, and it looked as if that was another bumper. It's job. It's 2:26 Mark Webster and a 97 in first and second places, and it looks as if Murray Harrison is going to try and make a bid there. He punts the car in front of him away, not quite hard enough though, and Mark Webster in fact shuts the door nicely on Harrison on that occasion. And he still leads. Again, Harrison trying to chop down underneath him, and is he going to succeed? It looks as if he might. They're waiting for each other, and indeed whilst that happened we could have had a third man come into the fray somewhat rapidly. We'll just check that as they come through. 97, and in fact from 226, 383 Dave Johnson. In fact, obviously the Chandler motor down, but still he came through there nicely and could have had a bearing on the man who was leading the pack. Murray Harrison, car number 97 from 213 Des Chandler, not Des Chandler of course at all, he's lap down. We'll just repeat that. 226 Mark Webster as he too now has been passed. It's Dave Johnson who's moved up into third place in car number 383. Out of the turn forward into the home straight. Let's keep an eye on those two lead cars as they go charging around down there. That's the halfway, Mr. Starter. 97, Murray Harrison. 383. Moved up into that second place, of course. Harrison quickly opened up a gap, surprisingly enough. Oh, and look at that. Really puts that tail end out, and the man behind him didn't in fact do a nasty, which, well, he could have done, but he tried it on that occasion. And right in the middle of that whole ruck of cars that goes hurtling around the Bradford turn is the leader, Murray Harrison, in number 97. He's broken away from the attention of the big pace to him, but Dave Johnson's got a little bit closer in 383. And this could be quite close with 5 next time, Mr. Starter. John Lund is gradually coming very much into the picture in car number 53. Oh, and wallop, that was it. It had got to come, and it did. The bumper went in hard there. Away went Murray Harrison. And so it's Dave Johnson who goes into the lead from 53 and 64. And, oh, John Lund, surprisingly enough, lost it a little bit there. He went out just as it looked as if he might be in a position in the closing stages to make an impression on the man who's actually leading and back. And in fact, he's closed that gap remarkably quickly. Just look at that. Suddenly he was half a lap or seemingly away, and then right in there very quickly. And he's challenging Johnson, is John Lund. Dave Johnson, in fact, being pushed aside there, and he's going to have a go at Lund, who's caught himself right in the outside line. He chops away through, though, beautifully driven. There was that, and Johnson, in fact, gets himself caught up on the inside. Never mind, all credit to Johnson, at least he had a go, just didn't let it ride by him. He came back and had a go at John Lund, and that enabled Lund to break right away, car number 53. Oh, what on earth happened there? Somebody went bowling into that car very, very quickly, and we've got a problem. Yellows, Mr. Starter. It's reds, Mr. Starter, please. We've only got 2 to go, and it does not surprise you that there's a problem over there because the car went hammering in. So the reds go down, and the result will be declared with just 2 laps to go, as it was when those flags went out. Oh, and wallop, that was it. It had got to come, and it did. The bumper went in hard there. Away went Murray Harrison. And so it's Dave Johnson who goes, and then right in there very quickly. And he's challenging Johnson, is John Lund. Dave Johnson, in fact, being pushed aside there, and he's going to have a go at Lund, who's caught himself right in the outside line. He chops away through, though, beautifully driven. There was that, and Johnson, in fact, gets himself caught up on the inside. Never mind, all credit to Johnson, at least he had a go. still flying in there. Richard Mason looks like the other car involved, and again, it's all happening there as somebody tries to get into the cab with Richard Mason. Let's look at if there are any driver problems down there, but certainly there were plenty of car problems. And Frankie Wayman goes down here in car number 212, straight into the fence and goes broadside across the track, fortunately out of the racing line, so that should give him 2 minutes.
County holding fourth. So the Star Raiders working hard but not getting there. Peter Fawley lost some ground in car number 1, and it's John London 53 who now challenges Steve Cooper to be the highest placed red in this opening heat.
Up to red again.
Yeah, pain, but never mind.
Oh, you still won last night at Coventry.
Yeah, I was quite pleased with that actually. I didn't expect to come anywhere, to be honest, but yeah, it went all right.
The car was smoking a bit in that race. What were the problems?
Got a bad oil leak on the gearbox. The output shaft flange had come off, but I think we cured it now, I hope.
You started to race this car last year. Do you think it has improved a lot this year?
Yeah, we changed all the back suspension and bits and pieces here and there, and yeah, it seems to be good now. Quite pleased with it. Considering we haven't touched any of the engine or anything like that, you know.
This year's World Final is at Bradford, and 2 years ago it was rather a moment that Danny Clark wishes to forget.
Yeah, you can say it again. Never mind, such is life. That's how things happen. As I say, that's stock car racing.
Is that your main aim for 1994, getting into the World Final again?
No, not really. Anything I can get.
Or getting down to blue?
Anything I can do, yeah, get to blue if I can, yeah. Be better.
Thanks very much for your time, Dan, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you later.
You know.
away we go racing with the Formula One stock cars on their return to the raceway. 16 racing laps for them, and Kev Thompson leads them off the lone white top in this one, 188. As they head down the back straight towards turns 3 and 4. We watch the Star Graders trying to make their way through. The lead man at the moment amongst the stars is Steve Cooper, 221. The lead car's on track. He'll come through on its first, 188. Second, 436, and third, 229 as they head on down the back straight. And coming off turn 4 through onto the home straight. Here they come. And around the turn they go into the back straight. 391, Andy Smith in second. 436, Richard Knight is third. And motoring through on the home straight again. 29 and 391 from 436 and 109 and 73, and that's the top 5. So Star Graders not making headway as yet. The best of them is 5th. That's Steve Cooper, 221. Peter Folding leading the charge from the back of the grid in car number 1. Current world and national points champion, and he's well up into the top 8 now. But it's the Higgins car that leads them coming off turn 4 again into the home straight. From Andy Smith in 391 and Phil Smith in 109, with Rob Cowley running 4th in 73 and Stephen Cooper 5th in 221. Mark Gilbank 6th in 21, under pressure from Ian Platts and Peter Folding. John Lund staying in touch with Peter Folding as they work their way through the field. 29, the Higgins car still leads them from Andy Smith, 391. 109 is Phil Smith. So blue tops 1, 2, 3, 4 with Stephen Cooper the best of the Reds 5th, and Peter Folding now into the top 6 in number 1. John Lund just nudging in behind Ian Platts. Lund is 9th, he's now gone 8th, he's now gone 7th, and he's following Peter Folding all the way. But it's still Higgins who leads them down the back straight. And we've gone to the halfway stage, and it's the 29 Higgins car that leads them through. From 391 Andy Smith, and third is 109 Phil Smith. In fourth at 73 Rob Cowley, with Stephen Cooper 5th in 221. In 6th it's number 1 Peter Folding, 753 John Lund, and 8th is 77 Ian Platts. Richard Knight in 436 has joined Kev Thompson on the infield and out of the running. And no change in that top 3, and it's still blue tops 1, 2, 3 as we move on through the second half of this race. And here the leaders through on the home straight again. So they've got 5 laps to run next time through. And we move towards the closing stages. And Andy Smith chasing Higgins into the home straight they come. 29 and 391 and 109. And still Rob Cowley holding 4th. So the Star Graders working hard but not getting there. Peter Folding lost some ground in car number 1, and it's John Lund in 53 who now challenges Steve Cooper to be the highest placed red in this opening heat. They've got less than 4 to run. It's about 3.5 to go for Higgins as he goes down to turns 3 and 4 again. Still being pursued by Andy Smith in 391. They're getting back markers amongst the leading group now. This time through they've got 3 to run. And it's Higgins from Smith and Smith. That's 29, 391 and 109. And that's how they go down the back straight. With John Lund now through into 5th in 53 and trying to go 4th past Rob Cowley in 73. Stephen Cooper tagging along with John Lund. So Lund is through into 4th, and he's won the battle of the superstars as the last lap board is about to show. They're off turn 4 and down the home straight. Higgins from Andy Smith and Phil Smith, and John Lund and Rob Cowley and Steve Cooper, and that's the top 6 heading out for the last time around the quarter-mile oval. Down into turns 3 and 4, Andy Smith coming with a late rattle there to try and nudge the Higgins car aside, but it didn't work, they didn't connect, and the checkered flag goes down. Higgins first, Andy Smith second, Phil Smith third. John Lund 4, Rob Cowley 5 and Stephen Cooper 6, with Peter Folding home 7. Looks as though it might have been Ian Platts 8th, with the 9th and 10th Bobby Burns and Dave Beresford. So the race winner is confirmed. Car number 29, Ian Higgins. And the chart's being checked to get the rundown on the rest of the places. As the Formula 1s return to the pits, approximately half of these cars that we've seen in Heat 1 will be out in Heat 2. with the cars that are already parked in the pits waiting to go for their first begins. Shane Durrell, that's how they line up, and the starter's order now for 8-2, and that's the green wheel racing with the 16 racing laps once again in 8-2, and bumpers flying at the end of the back straight as Keith Chambers helps Gareth Butt to go and look at the wall up on the end. Keith Chambers getting cracking with the action in 2.50, but down around the east bend of back round. Johnson 188, Richard Knight 436, and Bill McGowan 369. And that's the 1-2-3 in the early stages. And now Richard Knight in 436 makes a bid for the lead. So it's first 436, second 188, and third 369. And we've lost John Lund up in front of the West Bend grandstand. Tyre smoking as he tries to get back into the race. Lost a bit of ground but didn't get himself flat. He's got his work to do to get back up the places now. And Les Spencer getting some bumper treatment going down into turn 3 there. It's Phil Smith in 109 trying to push through on the inside. Les Spencer held him that time and he's trying to hold him again, but this time Phil Smith pushes a little bit harder and he gets through into second place. So second now is 109, third 98. Richard Mason now pushing on Les Spencer, is getting a rough ride in this one. And through they come under the bridge. 436 the leader, 109 second and 98 third. Wayne Handley slowing down around turns 3 and 4 in the 378 car. Looks as though he might be leaving proceedings. Then Les Spencer still getting that rough ride in 98. This time it was Stephen Cooper giving him the bumper treatment in the 221 car. And off turn 2 and onto the back straight they go, with Richard Knight the leader in 436, Phil Smith second in 109 and 221, Stephen Cooper third. Les Spencer in there fourth in 98, with Rob Cowley fifth in 73 and Murray Harrison sixth in 97. And then the best of the Reds is now running 7th, and it's Junior Wainman in 515. Gazbot sideways on and almost cooked it down in turn 1 in the 41 car. He straightened up and he's still with them. And as they come through this time, we've got a change up front. We're going to the halfway stage next time round, and it's now 109 Phil Smith who leads. From 221 Steve Cooper second and 73 Rob Cowley third. So that's how they come off turn 4 through on the home straight. 109, 221 and 73. Les Spencer is third, Junior Wayman 4, Murray Harrison 5 and Richard Knight 6. In 7th it's 202 Richard Mason, Gareth Bodies 8, Keith Chambers 9 and Paul Harrison 10. Bumpers flying up there on turns 3 and 4. Steve Cooper in 221 just having a nudge there, but Phil Smith still holding on in 109. It's Cowley second, Cooper third, and Wainman right there with them in 515. And there go the bumpers, and Cowley's up and over he goes. In all sorts of trouble up there. We go yellow. We're going yellow. And we're going red. Call for the Reds. Marshall's up there on turns 3 and 4, not happy with the situation, and we go red. After pushing and shoving had resulted in Steve Cooper getting Rob Cowley airborne over the top of the Phil Smith car. So the race brought to a standstill, so that our marshals can deal with the situation up there on the east exit. Turn 4 back to the home straight. And it is a race stoppage with still more than a quarter distance remaining, which means the cars will be lined up in single file in the order they were in at the time of the stoppage, ready to go racing again over the remaining distance. And the lap scorers are now busy scribbling the numbers down, and there comes Rob Cowley out of that car. He's okay, he's emerging from that car. Taking a bow to the crowd up there on the East Bend banking. And the car falls back onto 4 wheels, not looking at all graceful. Certainly not as graceful as Rob himself as he came out of that car. Coming 515 and can see the order on track is the order they appear on the charts. That's the green. We're back racing. A lucky reprise for Phil Smith there in 109, who was involved in that shunt with the turning over Rob Cowley car, but he's not going to hold the lead too long if Steve Cooper keeps hitting them like that, and it's 4 to run as they come through this time. Cooper the leader, 2:21. Phil Smith second in 1:09, and Junior Wayman third in 5:15. Ryan Emmett, Murray Harrison, and Les Spencer and Gareth Bott. So superstar Junior Wayman closing on the 2 up front as we run through with 3 to go. Cooper the leader, Phil Smith second, and Junior Wayman third. Around the West Bend and onto the back straight they go. A lot of interpositional changing further on down the line. But up front, those 1, 2, 3 about to lap Kev Thompson in the 188 car. Junior Wayman putting some pressure now on Phil Smith. Smith gives to the pressure and moves aside as Wayman goes second in 5:15. Murray Harrison dropping a place as Gareth Bott comes through to 5th in 41. But off turn 4 and onto the home straight with 1 to run, it's Stephen Cooper 2:21. Junior Wayman may be coming with a late rattle in the 5:15 car to try and dislodge Cooper from that lead. Kev Thompson and Murray Harrison have spun out on the home straight. And there goes the Wayman bumper trying to shift Steve Cooper. Well timed, and Wayman's through on the inside as they head for the checkered. Wayman takes it in 5:15. Stephen Cooper second and Phil Smith third. Fourth man home is Les Spencer. Finishing fifth is Paul Harrison with Gareth Bott 6, Bobby Burns 7, Keith Chambers 8, John Run 9. And Stevie Hodgson completed the top 10 in 1:72.
That's all I care about, really.
4:83 over 16 racing laps. That's the green. They're racing once again with the Brisca Formula 1 stock cars in 8-3. 21, Mark Gilvan leads the field away as they head off around the West Bend and down into the back straight. It's Mike Smith close in behind him. Ian Higgins, Andy Smith doing some pushing and shoving as they go down to the east bend. Richard Mason just in behind him is fifth. Dave Beresford leads the Reds through the field at the moment in 2.60. And Beresford is now up into sixth place. Ian Higgins, who won the first this afternoon, is trying to get away from Andy Smith and Richard Mason. Those two are swapping bumper work around the east bend, back in fourth and fifth spot. Junior Wayman, the Heat 2 winner, is now charging fifth from the back of the pack with Peter Foley in close contention. And the lead car is now Mark Gilbank, 21. He comes off turn 4 and through on the home straight. On 29, Ian Higgins, and 393, Mike Smith, with 391, Andy Smith in fourth. Richard Mason is running fifth in 2.02, Dave Beresford 6, Junior Wayman 7, and Peter Foley 8. And there's Mark Gilbank through again in lead position down the home straight in 21. 29, Ian Higgins second, 391, Andy Smith third. Smith has now shaken off the challenge of Richard Mason in 2.02. Mason back in fourth. Mike Smith down to fifth and about to be relegated to sixth by Junior Wayman in 5.15. 2.03, Dan Clark retires to the infield. As Mark Gilbank makes his way down the back straight on the car, clear from 29, Ian Higgins, and 391, Andy Smith. And now Junior Wayman making a forward move in 5.15. The Heat 2 winner has got the better of Richard Mason. He's through to fourth place. Peter Foley just tagging back a little bit in his attempt to get to the front. He's down in sixth in number 1, and Junior Wayman sees out the best spot of the superstars who started at the back. We're approaching a halfway stage in this third heat, and Gilbank is still the leader in 21. Higgins has got a bit closer to him now in 29. Andy Smith running third, but coming under pressure from Junior Wayman fourth in 5.15. So they go through at the halfway stage. The leaders up on the west end is 21, Mark Gilbank the leader, from 29, Ian Higgins second, third is Junior Wayman and 4, Andy Smith. Running fifth is Richard Mason with Peter Foley 6, Dave Beresford 7. In 8th it's Ian Platts, and the 9th and 10th are Stevie Hodgson and Keith Chambers. And Ian Higgins makes a big mistake up on the west bend. He was trying to shut Mark Gilbank out. He's lost a lot of time, and that could mean he'll come under pressure from Junior Wayman in 5.15. Wayman close behind him now. Higgins second, Wayman third. The top Mark Gilbank still leads the way, but there's a real battle on for second place. Higgins holding that spot from Junior Wayman. Andy Smith back in fourth. Peter Foley trying to go through into fifth past Richard Mason. Mason proving very stubborn at the moment in 2.02. But Folding gets the drop on him this time into the left. And now Junior Wayman is pushing in. Higgins around the west bend. Wayman is through on the inside. Higgins chases him back down the back straight, just taps in behind, but no contact with the bumpers, and Gilbank leads in 21. Wayman second in 5.15. Higgins third in 29. Andy Smith is running 4. Peter Foley 5 and Richard Mason 6. 7-2. Stevie Hodgson has retired to the infield. So it's 3 to run for Gilbank. And Junior Wayman in one Heat 2 has got Gilbank in his sights in an effort to win Heat 3. They're off turn 2, they're on the back straight, and Junior Wayman taking his time. He just follows Gilbank around that east bend, takes the inside line back to the home straight. And with a couple to run, Junior Wayman on the verge of taking over the lead position. Through into the lead he goes. Gilbank drops the second, Higgins is third. Peter Foley has made it through into fifth behind Andy Smith. Junior Wayman is the race leader with 1 lap to run. 5.15 from 21 and 29. That's how they go out onto the final circuit in this third heat. Junior Wayman heading to make it a double in the 5.15 car. Ian Higgins comes with a late rattle and takes Mark Gilbank away to the wall up there on the east end. Junior Wayman takes the checkered. Andy Smith second, Peter Foley third, Mark Gilbank 4, Richard Mason 5. So Mark Gilbank made it over the line after that kamikaze dive by Ian Higgins up there on turns 3 and 4 at the end of that one. So Ian Higgins failing to last the distance after making sure that Mark Gilbank, or trying to make sure that Mark Gilbank didn't last the distance. Gilbank did, I think, come through and collect a place. Not so Ian Higgins. We'll know what those places were when the charts have been checked. In the meantime, we can confirm that Junior Wayman driving car 515 is the winner of Heat 3. and the victory lap is on its way. The winner of Heat 3 this afternoon, second race win of the day for the youngster from Silsden, West Yorks, 515 Junior Wainman. Folding 515 Junior Wayman, twice the winner this afternoon. Paul Harrison in 2, Stevie Hodgson 172, John Lund 53. Star graders are Steve Cooper, Keith Chambers, Dave Beresford, Ian Platts, Bobby Burns and Neil Long. That's how they go under starters orders. 20 racing laps for the Formula 1 stock car grand final.
Johnny, my battery's gone. We're going to have to do it with
And we go green. Mark Gilbank leads them off in 21. Went well in a heat earlier this afternoon. Andy Smith one to watch as well. He's gone well this afternoon, 391, but Richard Mason takes him outside on turn 4, coming back to the home straight in the early laps. Steve Cooper, another who's thundered round the circuit in 2:21, and he leads the red top charge as they come through the field from the back of the grid. Junior Wayman making a forward move, so's Peter Faulding trying this time to stay with Junior Wayman, and John Lund well in touch with him as well. So those are the early places, but out front is Mark Gilbank, the race leader in 21. Richard Knight running second in 4:36, and Richard Mason is third in 2:02. Andy Smith running 4, Mike Smith drops to 5th, Ian Higgins 6 and Phil Smith 7. Stephen Cooper still pushing and shoving, but Junior Wayman's relentless progress continues. 515 car on the tail end of the leaders now as Richard Knight scrapes the wall on the West Bend in 436. Looks as though he's coming to a halt. Thumbs up from him, he's okay, and the leader comes through again. 21 Mark Gilbank the leader. 202 Richard Mason second, and 391 Andy Smith is third. Once again, Junior Wayman got the drop on his fellow superstars in 515. He's going clear off them, and he's already up into the top half dozen on the charts. Gilbank the leader, 21, from Mason 202 and Smith 391. In fourth it's another Smith, Phil Smith 109, fifth is 29 Ian Higgins, and in sixth is Junior Wayman in 515, Peter Faulding 7, Les Spencer 8, Steve Cooper 9 and Dave Beresford 10. Kev Thompson's gone to the infield, blown the rear offside tyre on the 188 car. Wayne Handley's also pulled out of contention in 378. And coming off turn 4, it's Mark Gilbank, the race leader in 21. Second, 202, Richard Mason. Third, 391, Andy Smith. Phil Smith is 4, Junior Wayman 5. Ian Higgins 6, getting some attention from Peter Faulding in number 1. Higgins goes out wide on the West Bend, and Faulding moves up a place. Faulding doing his best to keep Junior Wayman within his sights. Well, Wayman seems to be cruising through with quite a lot to spare in the 515 car. He's now running 5th and putting pressure on 4th place, Phil Smith in 109. Andy Smith nudges Richard Mason aside, so Andy Smith has moved up a place. We're approaching the halfway stage. Now we're 1 or 2 battles on down the line. Keith Chambers and Paul Harrison are just in front of them. Ian Platts and Bobby Burns. We come to the halfway in the final, and the race leader is Mark Gilbank. In second it's Andy Smith with Richard Mason third. Junior Wayman's 4 and under pressure from Phil Smith there in 5th. Back in 6th it's Peter Faulding, Ian Higgins 7, John Lund 8, Stephen Cooper 9 and Dave Beresford 10. Now Richard Mason burning some rubber, trying to hold on to 3rd in 202. He's got Junior Wayman snapping away behind him in 515. And Wayman again gives Mason a nudge, going up into turn 3 up around the East Bend, and this time Wayman's through into 3rd. And Peter Faulding just not staying with Wayman because he's got 2 between him and the 3rd place Wayman now. Faulding's back in 6th, John Lund coming out of the pack in 7th in 53 to chase after the leaders. Lund always a latecomer in the top positions around the Hednesford Raceway, and he's trying to do it again, but he's got his work cut out from a 1/3 of a lap back. The race leader is Mark Gilbank, 21. In second, it's 391, Andy Smith. In third is 515, Junior Wayman. And they will have 5 laps to run next time through. Now Wayman makes his bid now to take second place off Andy Smith. He gets through. He sets his sights on the long-time leader, Mark Gilbank, in 21, as the 5 to run sign comes out. Wayman now trying to lap Neil Long. Mark Gilbank has already done so. And a 1-2-3 around the East Bend. It's first 21, second 515, and third 391. And behind them in fourth is number 1, Peter Foley. Phil Smith is 5th, Richard Mason 6th, John Lund 7th, and Stephen Cooper 8th. And off the West Bend that time, Junior Wayman makes his way to the front as expected. The 515 car leads now off turn 4 with 3 to run. A Sunday afternoon drive for the Silsden youngster who's timed his challenge well. Paul Harrison, number 2, goes to the infield and out of the race. So Junior Wayman, the leader, he's off turn 4 again, looking to make it a treble of race wins this afternoon. There's a tangle behind him on the East Bend. Richard Mason has gone out in a tangle with John Lund. That's 2 of the place drivers with Matt Mark and Mike Smith in 393. That's going to change the places in the top 10. But it's not going to do anything about the lead position, which is Junior Wayman. John Lund motoring again. Peter Foley hit a bit of bother that time through with Andy Smith. They've hooked up and gone to the wall on the West Bend. Second and third place, Andy Smith and Peter Folding go to the wall on the West Bend. So it leaves Junior Wayman clear for the checkered. He comes through and wins it in 515. Second over the line is going to be Phil Smith, with finishing third Mark Gilbank. 4 Stephen Cooper, 5 Dave Beresford. In 6 Ian Higgins. 7 look like Les Spencer, with Ian Platts 8, probably Bobby Burns 9 and Richard Mason 10. And that's the top 10 home at the end of 20 laps. The Reds go out. And as the red flags, red lights show around the circuit, quite a few positional changes during the last 3 or 4 laps, when 1 or 2 drivers who looked to be on a Sunday afternoon drive up to that point suddenly found they were heading for the wall on the West Bend or the East Bend.
109 for second place, 109.
And just checking the charts for the top 3. Trophies for the top 3, is it?
21 for third place.
And the top 3 for the trophies are now confirmed. The winner, 515, Junior Wayman. In second place, 109, Phil Smith. And in third place, 21, Mark Gilbank.
Going in the pits, Jamie, just about the green one.
He'll be anticipating going as far as the checkered flag first as he makes it away on this rolling lap. We shall see. They're under starters' orders, and that's the green. Away up into the West Bend they go on the opening lap, led by Mark Gilbank in 21 from Richard Knight in 436. Looking back down track, the best of the blues is Andy Smith, 391, and best of the reds, 260, Dave Beresford. So Mark Gilbank led him through at the end of the first in number 21 from Richard Knight in 436. Andy Smith running third in 391. Ian Higgins and Phil Smith are next in line. Bumpers connecting amongst the reds. There's a train of them onto the home straight now. Beresford, Cooper, Chambers, Folding and Platts. And a bit of bumper work going on as they try to improve their positions. Well, the man out front is Mark Gilbank, number 21, with Andy Smith running second in 391 and Ian Higgins third in 29. Phil Smith running fourth in 109. Richard Knight is fifth in 436. Then comes Richard Mason in 202. And problem on the back straight. Steve Cooper gets airborne 221 over the hump as they all had to take avoiding action around the Parklow Spencer car. Spencer 98 just having glanced the wall. He's sat there at the moment. No change in the top 4. Here they come from turn 4 through on the home straight. It's 21, 391, 29 and 109. And the best of the reds is still Dave Beresford in 260. He's being harried along there by number 1, Peter Folding. And Junior Wayman not making much impression as yet on the lead that Mark Gilbank has got in 21. single file down the back straight. Gilbank the leader from Smith, Higgins and Smith again. That's 5th place Richard Mason, 6th Jamie Davidson, 7 Dave Beresford now, and 8 Peter Folding. And we're moving towards the halfway stage. So this is 8 laps gone, 8 to run, and the leader is 21 Mark Gilbank. In second is 391 Andy Smith, and third is 29 Ian Higgins. Running fourth, it's 109 Phil Smith. In fifth, it's Richard Mason, 6 Jamie Davidson, 7 Dave Beresford, 8 Peter Folding, 9 Keith Chambers, and 10 John Lund. Andy Smith just closing a little bit on race leader Mark Gilbank. And Junior Wayman in amongst some back markers now in the 515 car. They'll have just 5 laps to run next time through. And the top 4 leave the West Bend and go down the back straight. 21, 391, 29 and 109. And with 5 to run, Gilbank is still there. But the 2 blue tops behind him have just closed in a little bit. Further on down the line, Peter Folding has now gone past Dave Beresford to be the leading red. So it's Gilbank from Andy Smith, Ian Higgins and Phil Smith. Junior Wayman not into the paid placings as yet in the 515 car from the 1 lap handicap. And the race leaders are down on the east bend, and Andy Smith is still working hard trying to get the better of Mark Gilbank, but with 3 to run, Gilbank still leads them through in 21. A couple of back markers in front of Gilbank might just slow his progress over these last 2.5 laps. He now goes to lap Neil Long in 79 as they go to the east bend, and Andy Smith is still there in 391, still trying to find the impetus to get past Mark Gilbank, the long-time race leader. Higgins is third, Phil Smith fourth. Best of the Reds is Peter Folding back in 7th in number 1. And there's Mark Gilbank trying to get rid of those 2 slower yellow tops with Andy Smith riding behind him. We're on the last now, and it's Gilbank 21 up to the West Bend in the lead. From Andy Smith 391, Gilbank has taken that bend rather well and left a back marker between himself and Andy Smith, and Smith is just running out of time because he dropped further back in this last couple of laps, and that's enough for Mark Gilbank to take the checkered in 21. Andy Smith takes second with Ian Higgins third, Phil Smith 4th, 5th Folding and Dave Beresford. Now it looks as though Junior Wayman made it into 10th place. We'll know when the charts are checked, but in the meantime the Reds are out. As usual at the raceway, John Lund coming with a late run, got him up into the top 7 places, I think. We'll know when the charts are checked. But Mark Gilbank is confirmed as the winner of the Stocks Line Grand National Championship qualifier. And a good afternoon's racing for Mark Gilbank in the 21 car. Came home with a 4th in the 3rd heat, but then a 3rd in the final, and he's gone on to win the last one. Not bad for a B-grade driver. Right, will do. I'll put it. It's Mat Bennett second, in 4th, the pressure. 83, Dave Johnson. Running 4th is Dave Willis in 337 with Peter Folding 5th in number 1. Dave Beresford 6th in 260, Stevie Hodgson 7170. So we'll go through from that one to give us a line-up for the grand final. But right now we're about to go racing. That's the green flag and away they go. So 17 cars have got away into the action, and the first casualty is the 191 car of Ashley Bohm up there on turn 1. He spun around, but he's back on track and running about 7th or 8th as the leader comes through, and it's Stephen Kaiser in 380 who leads the way from Wally Pidham in 134 and Dave Willis in 337. Matt Bennett is next in line in 413, and that's our top 4 heading down towards the pit turn. Ashley Bone been on to the infield, but coming back on track. And 380, Stephen Kaiser is the race leader from Wally Pidham 134. Wally collects one of those tyres down on turn 1 and loses a bit of ground. So the leaders are off turn 4 now and through the home straight. Stephen Kaiser the leader in 380 from Matt Bennett, gone second now in 413. Wally Pidham is third in 134. The shale covered car in behind Pidham is probably Dave Johnson in 383. And then it looks like Dave Willis in 337 and Phil Wilton in number 6. We've gone a quarter of the distance and Stephen Kaiser is still there. Slight problem there with back marker Paul Johnson 406. But that's another lap completed for Kaiser through down to turns 1 and 2. Matt Bennett holding second place in 413 with Dave Johnson third in 383 and Dave Willis 4. A tangle between Rob Cowley and Phil Wilton on the back straight slowed down the charges. And they include Stevie Hodgson, Peter Faulding, Craig Howarth, Dave Beresford and Frankie Wayman. So just a bit of time lost for those high flyers, whilst Phil Wilton number 6 and Rob Cowley 73 continue to pirouette round the infield trying to unhitch those cars. Steve Kaiser's through again and it will be halfway next time. So the 380 car has the lead from 413 and 383. Then it's Dave Willis next in line in 337. And Peter Faulding is the man emerging from the pack to give chase to those up front in car number 1. So at the halfway, Kaiser has the lead in 380. It's Matt Bennett second in 413, but under pressure from 383, Dave Johnson. Running fourth is Dave Willis in 337 with Peter Faulding fifth in number 1. Dave Beresford sixth in 260. Stevie Hodgson seventh in 172. Craig Howarth eighth in 52. The top 3 are much closer together now as they come around turns 3 and 4 and onto the home straight. White top from yellow top from blue top, and Johnson zeroes in aiming for the kill. They've got 5 to run next time through. And the 383 car pushes Matt Bennett down to the pit turn. And through they run with 5 to run, 380, 413 and 383. Back marker just in amongst the top 3 there is the 136 car of Steve Jacklin, but he's now dropped in behind that top 3. And they could have more back marker problems as we go through these closing stages, because in front of them it's Wally Pidham, and then just in front of him the 218 car of Derek Fairhurst. And it's still Kaiser in 380 from Bennett 413 and Johnson in 383. Bennett makes a mistake on the pit turn, so Johnson nips through on the inside. Bennett trying to fight back. Kaiser still has the lead in 380, but Johnson's second now and trying to take Kaiser around as they go to the back straight. He timed that nudge quite well, and Kaiser loses time on the back straight. Dave Johnson takes the lead. They'll have a couple of laps to run as they come through this time. And 383, Dave Johnson has the lead from 413, Matt Bennett, and 380, Stephen Kaiser. Dave Willis running fourth and putting up a good show as he battles with world champion Peter Faulding, but Faulding's got the better of him and sent Willis out to look at the fence. That was down on turn 4. Barry Heath playing with a tyre on the home straight in 343, losing time, and the leader's on his last. And it's Dave Johnson with Steve Kaiser putting pressure on Matt Bennett to regain second place. Off turn 2 and onto the back straight. Johnson the leader, Bennett second and Kaiser third, and that's how they go down to turns 3 and 4 for the last time in the opening heat. Back into the home straight, and Dave Johnson wins it in 383. Matt Bennett finishes second in 413, and third was Stephen Kaiser. Over the line fourth, it was Peter Faulding with Dave Willis 5 and Dave Beresford 6. Stevie Hodgson is the 7th man home with Frankie Wayman finishing 8th. Back to 9th place, it looks like Derek Fairhurst and possibly Barry Heath 10. We'll know when the charts are checked as they come through with the rest of them with the distance completed. And race over, Reds please. Now looking for your applause from Chesterfield, Derbyshire, 383, Dave Johnson. Nichols. The Blues, Mike Ives in 2.36, Wayne Handley 3.78, Jamie Davidson in 4.64, John Kaiser 17. Then car number 24 is the next in line, Lisa Harder, 91 is Wilf Warnes. The Reds are John Wright, Kev Smith, Dan Clark, Rob Pearce. Welcome back to Long Eaton, Ian Platts and Junior Wayman, and that's it. We're racing with the Greens ad and 16 racing laps ahead of them. "22 cars get away. Paul Lowe spun it out down there on turn 2. The rest of them thundering by as the leaders stretch out down the back straight. And back into the home straight comes Peter McCrudden, the leader, in 4.34 from Richard Knight in 4.36 and Mark Webster in 2.26. That's the 1-2-3. Colin Nance in trouble on the home straight, losing ground on the infield in 2.80. Best of the Reds from the back of the pack is Kev Smith in 64. Trainer cars losing time down there. The 16 car of Robin Newson causing a blockage with Mike Ives and Wayne Handley losing time. And we've lost Junior Wayman up on turn 2 in 5.15. Spins it round to straighten up and get back into the action, but he's lost half a lap on the cars he was with at the time. And already the low graders out front trying to break away from the main bunch of the pack. It's Peter McCrudden. 4.36, Richard Knight, the race leader, in fact, a quarter of a lap ahead. McCrudden's gone to the fence at the end of the home straight. So Richard Knight into the home straight in 4.36 in lead position. In second, it's Mark Webster in 2.26. In third, 26, Ray Williams. And then in fourth, it looks like Jeff Nichols with Jamie Davidson next in line. Kev Smith, who's the best of the Reds, in 64. Wilf Warnes 91 and John Kaiser 17. Race leader Richard Knight comes down the home straight at the moment, following in Junior Wayman's tyre tracks. Wayman trying to make up ground. He lost early on. Early leader Peter McCrudden's gone to the infield and out of the running in 4.34. Jamie Davidson and Kev Smith just having a little tussle. It ends on turn 2 with Davidson going wide and Smith continuing his chase up towards the front. So Richard Knight the leader on the back straight in 4.36 from Mark Webster in 2.26. Running in third, it's 26, Ray Williams. Kev Smith is fourth. It looks like Jeff Nichols in fifth, Wilf Warnes sixth. Jamie Davidson is seventh. We're going towards the halfway stage. It will be that next time through. And the race leader is Richard Knight. He's on turn 3. And we'll check the top 10 through at the halfway stage. They're led by 4.36, Richard Knight. In second, it's 2.26, Mark Webster. Coming through in third is 26, Ray Williams, with Kev Smith fourth in 64. Fifth is Jeff Nichols and sixth, Wilf Warnes. Running 7 is Jamie Davison. 8th is 24, Lisa Harter. In 9th is 175, Rob Pearce. And 10th is 203, Dan Clark. John Kaiser losing time on the home straight. 17 goes to the infield. Richard Knight, the race leader, has gone through again. There's a couple of yellow tops leading the way. That's Knight and Webster. Somewhere behind them is Kev Smith, 64. Wilf Warnes lost time on the pit turn that time round in 91. Robin Newson spun on the home straight in 16. They have 5 to run next time through. Richard Knight, the leader, 4.36 from Mark Webster, 2.26. Now Richard Knight coming around the pit turn. Mr. Starter says 5 laps to run, and the local driver out front is Richard Knight, 4.36. In second, it's Mark Webster in 2.26, with Kev Smith trying to close them down in third. He's in 64. Ray Williams is fourth in 26. Lisa Harder putting the front bumper about in 24 as she makes her way up the places. Jeff Nichols drops 1 place. Ian Platt's trying to move forward. Dan Clark and Junior Wayman next in line, but that's way down the places, and Richard Knight is the leader down the back straight in 4.36. Kev Smith has now relegated Mark Webster to third place. Kev Smith is running second in 64. There's a length of the straight difference between first and second as 4.36 goes on down the back straight. From 64, Kev Smith, and 2.26, Mark Webster. Behind Webster, it's Lisa Harder in 24 and Jeff Nichols in 2.15. Richard Knight's got some back markers to deal with this time down the back straight. They are Mike Ives and Paul Farrer, 2.36 and 2.75. He's taking it steadily on the inside line round a pit's turn. He's looking at 1 lap to run this time through. And 4.36, Richard Knight takes it around turns 1 and 2, heading down the back straight, well clear of star grader Kev Smith in 64. And it looks as though the local lad has only got to take turn 4 to win his first Formula 1 at Long Eaton. Over the line he goes, the checkered flag is out, and Richard Knight wins it. Second over the line is 64, Kev Smith. Through to finish third is Mark Webster. Behind him is Jeff Nichols and Lisa Harter. Rob Pearce next over the line, then Junior Wayman and Ray Williams, and then Ian Platts and Jamie Davidson and Dan Clark, and that's the top 10 through as the rest of them come through. And that's it, Mr. Starter. Race over. Reds, please. That is 4.36, Richard Knight. It's 16 laps and the first 8 again through to the final. The Reds are Keith Chambers, Shane Dorrell, Bobby Burns, Paul Harrison and John Lund are the 2 superstars. And the race gets underway. Jim Conlon cooks it rather noisily down there on turn 1 in 400, leaving Chris Broxop the leader down the back straight on the opening lap in 3.38. And the race leader coming through now, Keith Chambers, in trouble on turn 1. He's gone to the fence up there in 2.50. And the leaders come through. It's Chris Broxop in 3.38 from Mark Gilbank, 21. Tangle down on pit turn has changed the places of third onwards. It's Andy Smith who's in third now, 3.91. Phil Smith and Richard Mason in behind. Murray Harrison airborne there, leans on the Johnny Goodall car and just clips the fence coming off turn 2. And it's Broxop who leads in 3.38. Mark Gilbank second in 21. They've got back marker Richard Johnson in between them at the moment in 78. As they go down the back straight towards the pit turn. And with another lap completed, it's Broxop still the leader in 3.38. He's coming under pressure now from Mark Gilbank in 21. 3 blue tops charging through in the next places. Andy Smith, Phil Smith and Richard Mason. Just behind them it's Phil Bittnell, then Les Spencer, and then looks like Glyn Daft, with Keith Chambers and Shane Dorrell. So that's how they run at the moment. Mark Gilbank has taken over lead position in 21 as we go through the quarter distance of this 16-lap race. Bobby Burns losing time on turn 2, having caught one of the infield tyres. Then it looks as though he might be rolling onto the infield and out of the race now anyway. So Mark Gilbank is the leader this time through down the home straight in 21. Early leader Chris Broxop now running second in 3.38. It's Andy Smith third in 3.91. Phil Smith fourth in 1.09. Fifth is 2.02 Richard Mason. And sixth is number 7 Phil Bittnell. Behind them it's Les Spencer. And then behind Spencer it looks like Glyn Daft. John Lund coming through from the back of the pack in 53, just on the tail end of the top 10. And Mark Gilbank is leading the way down the back straight. Still no star grade winners tonight, and the best of the star graders a long way back in this one. It is in fact John Lund in 53, and he's virtually 3/4 of a lap behind race leader Mark Gilbank. It will be halfway next time through, and Gilbank leads them down the back straight. Andy Smith has gone through into second now, followed by Phil Smith. White top Chris Broxop just juggling with the steering wheel on the back straight in 3.38, losing a bit of time there, and Murray Harrison helping him fencewards on turn 3. Gilbank still leads from Andy Smith and Phil Smith. Broxop is running 4, but now getting the bumper treatment from Richard Mason. And although Broxop getting knocked about a little bit in the 3.38 car, he's trying to maintain his place, putting up a good show. And out front at the halfway it was Mark Gilbank 21 from Andy Smith 3.91 and Phil Smith 1.09. Phil Bittnell just clipped a fence post on turn 3 in car number 7. And Bobby Burns just rejoining the action after missing several laps on the infield in 4.71. Rejoins right in front of Phil Bittnell and loses Phil a bit of time. They have 5 laps to run next time through. And Andy Smith in 3.91 has a back marker just in front of him, but then he can see the race leader Mark Gilbank in 21. And they're off turn 4 with 5 to run this time. 21 the leader, 391 second and 109 third as we go to the closing stages of Heat 3. Gilbank in 21, Andy Smith 391, and some way back now Phil Smith in 109. Andy Smith goes with a rattle to the pit gate turn that time, looked as though he was trying to connect with the back bumper of Gilbank, but he didn't succeed. And Andy Smith's lost a bit of time there. He's got to come again to get behind Gilbank. They're on the back straight this time, 21 from 391. And now back marker Phil Bicknell gets in between the first and second. Just a fraction more time lost by Andy Smith there. So Andy Smith now chases Gilbank down into turns 1 and 2. They go past Les Spencer, who spun out down there in 98. And past Johnny Goodall, still parked in the fence start of the back straight, number 5. But the top 2 are on turn 4 and coming onto the home straight with a couple to run. Phil Smith still in contention in 109. And if the top 2 should tangle, he'll be there to take advantage of it. It's 21 and 391. They're on the back straight with a lap and a half to run. Mark Gilbank leading Andy Smith with Phil Smith just in behind. Around the pit gate turn, the back marker in front of them is the early leader Chris Broxop. They're going out onto the last, and Gilbank is trying to maintain his cool under pressure from Andy Smith. Off that second bend and onto the back straight, and now Andy Smith is attempting to push Gilbank down that straight, and here comes Phil Smith in 109. Gilbank goes to the fence, Andy Smith takes the lead, and he's going to hold out Phil Smith, and Andy Smith's going to win it in 391. Second over the line is 109 Phil Smith. Finishing third is Richard Mason. Back in fourth it looks like John Lund in 53. Could be that Mark Gilbank has recovered to finish fifth in the 21 car with Paul Harris and Shane Durrell behind him. And then possibly Glyn Dafton. Most of the rest have been out at one time or another as they just roll through, completing the distance. A race over, Reds please. But still 391, Andy Smith. car lineup for tonight's grand final. And of course, being a World Championship qualifying round, regular fans will be well aware that no reserves are allowed into the final tonight. It's qualifiers only, and in non-starters will not be replaced. No first timers out there, so all these cars are the unsuccessful ones from heats 1, 2 and 3. We have 31 of them on track, only 6 to go through to the final. They're coming under starters orders with 16, I'm sure, going to be very hectic laps in front of them. Well, thanks, Jim. And it's Wally Pittham who leads the charge down at turn 1 in car 134. We've lost Phil Bicknell up on turn 4 in number 7. We lost another one up there on turn 3. They, two of them didn't make it through to the end of the roller. And a heap of cars developing down at the end of the home straight, including Johnny Goodall, Paul Farrer and Mike Ives. The leader is coming through. It's Jim Conlon in 400. And the leader's now heading for that parking lot on turn 1. It's caught Wally Pittham, 134. And it's caught another couple who've taken to the inside runoff area. And they're just threading their way through there best way they can. John Wright and Derek Fairhurst chose the wrong route, so they've caught trouble. Ashley Bohm's gone down by the pit gate in 191. Peter McCrudden shunted onto the infield down on turn 1 in 434. More cars in trouble down on turn 4. Jamie Davidson 464 losing ground, so's Barry Heath and 16 Robin Newson, and Les Spencer also in trouble down there. So at least a third of the field have been out already, and we've only just completed lap 3. The race leader Jim Conlon in 400. Derek Fairhurst 218, another one to lose time. He's cooked it round coming off turn 4. Up on turn 1, Wolf Warren's getting heavily shunted out by Ian Platts in 77. But Wolf Warren's back onto the racing line and chasing his way through in 91. Jim Conlon in 400 from 78, Richard Johnson, and 378 Wayne Handley was the order last time through. And here on the home straight they come, 400 the leader. In second it's Richard Johnson in 78, Wayne Handley third in 378, and then in fourth it looks like Bill McGann in 369 with Craig Howarth fifth in 52, then Rob Cowley sixth in 73. Best of the Reds is 7th place, Ian Platts in 77. 96 Glendaft is onto the infield and looks to be out of contention. And Rob Cowley losing time that way down the home straight then in 73. Paul Johnson beat a look at the fence on turn 2 in 4:06. And Jim Conlon still the leader in 400. It's Wayne Handley second in 3:78 and Richard Johnson down to third in 78. It's halfway next time through. And there's Murray Harrison in a tangle with 2 other cars. Can't quite pick him out from here coming off turn 4. There's 3 in a heap on the fence. John Wright's one of them in 1:28 as the leaders go through at the halfway. It's 400 Jim Conlon the leader from 3:78 Wayne Handley, and then 52 Craig Howarth. 78 Richard Johnson is in 4th, Ian Platts 5th and Bobby Burns 6th. Behind him it's Dan Clark. And that shunt on turn 4 has sorted itself out. Wayne Handley the leader now in 3:78. He's leaving turn 2 and going to the back straight, and Craig Howarth chasing him in 52. And then it's Ian Platts in 77. Past the luckless Jim Conlon, who was the long-time leader in 400. And he's an axle-less Jim Conlon up there on the pit gate turn as the leaders go through. They have 5 to run next time. It is indeed proving to be a hair-raising consolation event. A lap scorer's nightmare with 31 out there, and most of them have been every which way during the course of those laps. There's a battle on down the home straight. The battle is Les Spencer trying to push Johnny Goodall towards the fence. Dan Clark in behind them is high up the places in 2:03. And those places are first 3:78, second 52 and third 77. And there they go down the home straight, and Craig Howarth is taken out and Ian Platts loses time and Wayne Handley regains the lead. Craig Howarth had just taken over the lead momentarily in 52, and now Ian Platts pushes Wayne Handley down the back straight, but Bobby Burns is there as well in 4:71. They've got 3 to run this time through. Fence post in trouble down on the pit turn as the leaders come through, and it's Ian Platts, Bobby Burns and Keith Chambers, with Murray Harrison just in behind them. So the leaders go down the back straight down towards the pit gate. 77 Ian Platts goes out wide, and it's a new leader, Keith Chambers in 2:50. So it's Chambers the leader, Platts second, Burns third. Some way back in 4th, it's a long way back in 5th. It could be Jamie Davidson with Wilf Warnes next in line. And Keith Chambers is the leader with Ian Platts close in behind. They're coming back to the home straight. They're starting the last. It's 2:50, 77 and 4:71. Chambers, Platts and Burns. Platts tries to nudge Chambers out. He lines up inside him down the back straight, and Platts regains the lead in 77. Chambers going to come back at him though, going down into the pits turn. Tries to get the bumper in, but it doesn't connect. Chambers is sideways. He's collected Burns, and Platts is going to win it. And over the line, 77, Ian Platts takes it. Second man home is going to be Bobby Burns with third Keith Chambers, and that's it, Mr. Starter. Reds, please.
Sorry about that, Ian, but well, yeah, but that fence is right.
Well, it was a bit hairy out there for that one, but we have a race winner. There he is with a checkered flag from Doncaster, number 77, Ian Platts. In 26 from 383, Dave Johnson in second. 391, Andy Smith is third. Ray Williams sideways on turn 2. He's lost the lead now. Dave Johnson's taken it over. Stephen Case has gone to the infield in 380. Andy Smith trying to remove Ray Williams from second place on the pit turn. And with the rain steadily falling, conditions getting worse, it's Dave Johnson the leader from Andy Smith. And then in behind him it's Wilf Warnes and Ray Williams, and then Mark Webster and Phil Smith, and then Jamie Davidson. And the best of the Reds looks like Rob Pearce in 175. He's back in about 8th place. 2 cars in a heap around there on the pit turn, and Andy Smith's one of them in 391. He was running third and he's gone from the places. So Dave Johnson the leader, 383. Could be Wilf Warnes second in 91 and Ray Williams third in 26. But Johnson looks to be clear in 383. He's off into the back straight. It could well be that 91 Wilf Warnes is down on the charts, that being checked after the race. But if so, then Dave Johnson's a long way clear in 383 from Ray Williams second in 26 and Jamie Davidson third in 464. And Jamie Davidson has pulled out of the race in 464. We go into the halfway stage next time, and all of a sudden Dave Johnson's out on his own. And it looks as though Rob Pearce is now moving up into third place, 175. Ray Williams down to fourth. Mark Webster's gone at the end of the home straight in 226.
Are we scoring Warnes in or out?
So the race leader is Dave Johnson, and second place is Rob Pearce, 175, some way behind with John Lund third in 53. Quite a few cars parked up around the pit gate turn. Dave Johnson in 383 is up on turn 2, and he's about half a lap clear of 175 Rob Pearce, who's in second. 53 John Lund is third. Ian Platts is fourth in 77. Then it looks like Junior Wayman 515 and Paul Harrison number 2. Ray Williams gone to the infield. That's car number 2 out of the running, 26 I should say. And the conditions really getting the better of the drivers as we go through the second half of this final, because very few of them making a forward move now, and Dave Johnson is a long way clear in the 383 car. Rob Pearce in 175, half a lap behind the leader. He's just entering the back straight now. Battling it out for third place behind him are John Lund in 53 and Ian Platts in 77. Now those two are just entering the pit turn as Rob Pearce comes off that pit turn. John Lund getting the better of Ian Platts at the moment. Platts just dropping a little ground there. He's running 4. Junior Wayman 5. Phil Smith 6. Paul Harrison still motoring, so's Andy Smith, Junior Wayman and Frankie Wayman, and they've got just 4 to run next time. So the lap boards will be showing very shortly, and it's Dave Johnson who's leading the way at the moment in the 383 car. Dave Johnson off turn 2 into the back straight. Still Rob Pearce second and John Lund third, Ian Platts 4, Junior Wayman 5, Paul Harrison 6. That's the way they're spread around the circuit. As we run through these closing stages, out onto his last lap he goes in 383. Rob Pearce just commencing his last lap in 175 from John Lund in 53. There very little chance of changes in the places due to faster cars from behind, more likely to be spin-outs. There's the checkered flag and Dave Johnson wins it. Rob Pearce collects second place on his return to Long Eaton, followed by John London, Ian Platts. And there'll be very few other finishers following them through at the end of that very wet and soggy 20 laps. And that's it, race over, Reds please. On to the lap of honour then, tonight's winner, heat and final for the man from Chesterfield, Derbyshire. This World Championship qualifier is 383, Dave Johnson. So we've got the green flag signal, and already 2 or 3 in trouble around the pit gate turn. Star graders go down the home straight single file, and already the numbers becoming covered with wet shale. The race leader comes through with Stephen Kaiser in 380. 400 Jim Conlon is second, and 78 Richard Johnson third. That's 2 on 2. Frankie Wayman just nipped onto the infield and back on track as he came down the home straight. Stephen Kaiser has completed lap 2 in the lead position in 380. .400 Jim Conlon losing time now as he goes down the outside line down the home straight. One spun going into turns 1 and 2. Could have been John Wright, 128. And 380 Stephen Kaiser is still the leader. 78 Richard Johnson in second place. Car identification when they're away down the back straight, virtually impossible from race control. And we look for the leaders on the home straight. That's Bobby Burns, I think, gone to the infield, 471. John Wright, 128, also on the infield. And Stephen Kaiser completes another lap. We think it could well be Matt Bennett running second in 413. So Mark Webster has taken over the lead in 226. It's Stephen Kaiser second in 380. Matt Bennett third in 413. Then Wilf Warnes fourth in 91. And another one gone to the infield might be Craig Howard, 52. Next time. Somebody clad in the fence hard down there on turn 1. Looks as though it's Glendaft, 96, who just found a bit of acceleration when he didn't want it. And Mark Webster, race leader at the halfway in 226. Stephen Kaiser second, 380. Third is 77 Ian Platts, and fourth, 64 Kev Smith. That information comes to you from the lap charts rather than from my view out of race control.
Kaiser's retook the lead.
And Kaiser has retaken the lead, so it would appear, in 380. But have a look at them coming off this turn into the home straight. Here's the leading group. 380. Steve Kaiser is the leader. 77. Ian Platts is second. They've got 5 to run. Time. And someone has spun on turn 2 who was up there with the leaders. Possibility that it was Kev Smith. He was up there with the leaders, and certainly someone spun. There's Kaiser in the lead in 380. Ian Platt second in 77. Mark Webster third in 226. And Ian Platts has taken over the lead position, and there he goes on the home straight in 77. Stephen Kaiser relegated to second in 380. They are some way clear of Mark Webster 226, who's just had a hefty shunt up the back bumper from possibly 64 Kev Smith. The 3 to run board will be shown to the drivers next time through. And Ian Platts is race leader, 77. Stephen Kaiser second, 380. Well, there's a bit of a discussion going on in race control as to who it might be in third place, but it's Kev Smith 64, 77 Ian Platts the leader, 380 Steve Kaiser. There they go down the home straight. The lap boards are out. We are in the closing stages.
64 is just past whoever that was who was third.
64 Kev Smith is in third place, and someone else is in fourth just behind Kev Smith. So Ian Platts in 77 takes us through onto the last. Steve Kaiser still with him in 380. And then we've got Kev Smith, then we've got another one just in front of Mark Webster. And I hope the lap scorers have got better eyesight than me. There goes the checkered flag, and it goes out for Ian Platts in 77. Stephen Kaiser has come through to finish second in 380. Kev Smith is third across the line in 64. And it's been suggested now it might be Jamie Davidson who finished fourth. In front of Mark Webster who finished fifth. And the rest of them coming through. And
Looked like Davis was there.
That's a race over Reds, please. Caster, that's Ian Platts.